My name is Darpin Shah, and I'm a cloud infrastructure engineer at Google. I am also Unison Madden alum, the Terp alum, so the usually hosting this hackathon. So go Terps. This session today, before we start this session, I want to make sure all of you have claimed your Google Cloud credits. You will need this to actually get along and follow to the session today. So if you haven't done it already, make sure you go to this link, hackback/Google Cloud credits, and you can get up to $200 in Google Cloud credits from MLH. So I'll give you a quick 30 seconds, 45 seconds to complete this form if you haven't already. So I'll give you pause there. So make sure you do that. And meanwhile, I think Lillian and Priyanka, they're going to also monitor the chat. So if you have any questions for the session, feel free to put it there, or you can also like ask me after the session, and I'll be more than happy to answer that. All right, we will get started. So today we will learn what is cloud, what is Google Cloud, and today at the end of the session, you will have your first website hosted on Google Cloud for free. So let me just show and give me a quick show of hands. Give me a second. Who here has heard the term cloud before? That's the buzzword, right? That everywhere you see here, like all these new startups coming up, new ventures, everyone is like, oh, it's a cloud-based startup, cloud-based software, and all that. So it's pretty common buzzword. But then can someone like unmute yourself and tell me what is cloud or what do you understand by cloud? Like few of you guys, anyone?
Cloud is a virtual database.
Virtual databases, right? Anyone else? Come on, we can all be brave. Feel free to speak up.
Decentralized storage of data.
Centralized storage, yes. One more. Anyone else? What do you understand by cloud?
So it's a set of like a collection of lot of resources, not necessarily just database, but servers, computers, networks, etc., which can be used as a like pay per use or something, like pay as you go kind of models. And there are a lot of factors like it's either infrastructure or just applications which all fall under that category.
Perfect, you hit it right. So yeah, what everyone said, it's databases, it's the someone else's computer, network, you pay as you go, all of that. So all that is pretty much cloud. But you know, some of you who might not spoke up or you might also have some idea about it. But today, hopefully we can clear like some of the ideas, like what exactly is cloud and how you use it. So let's take a little bit like leap ahead, like a step back and say, let's say you're in a household, you have a family or you're in a room and you have like one desktop computer. So it's pretty much one computer that everyone uses in your home. So let's say if one of your siblings is using a computer, you cannot really use it. You have to wait for the sibling to finish his or her work or their work and then go and do your work after that. So you cannot really share that at the same time, or you have to rely on just that one computer. And you cannot really move it around. If you're in a specific room, you can only use from the same room. You cannot really go anywhere else. And that evolution that happened is then came laptop computers. So with laptops, you can take it anywhere as long as you have enough charging and you have a charger with it. You can move around and you can take it anywhere. And the same thing, you can take it to your college, university, or even be at home and also share with your sibling. You can just give it to them that, hey, you have a project to finish, take this computer and you can finish it up. So this was what was the issue or problem happening was there were limited resources and more number of people actually using that same resources. So what happened and what came is then came the library of computers. Let's say you go to your university, you go to public library, and there you have computer rooms or workstation rooms where anyone can go, reserve the time, or you can borrow that time, and you can actually sign up and finish your work for a specific duration. Now, what happened here is First of all, you are not paying for a computer as a whole. Like computers or laptops can cost thousands of dollars or even more, depending on what configuration you want. And let's say if some of you hackers here, they're going to work, you're going to work on a machine learning project. Some of them are going to just working on a simple website, or someone is going to work on advanced, like something with cryptocurrencies, or do something with bitcoins and litecoins, or all kind of like Ethernet or other currencies. So you will need a lot of compute capacity. If you're a designer, you need a lot of like graphics card capacity where you can render your graphics for a website or for an application very effectively. So you can't really afford, or it's not feasible to buy those many computers for one single person per use case. So what you do is you rely on something like a library or your school computers, or you borrow, or someone loans their computer to you for some time. So that's pretty much you are using someone else's computer for your project to finish up your task for it. And then you only pay for whatever you use. So if I'm working on a machine learning project just for this hackathon for the weekend, I don't need to buy a computer for the entire year. I don't need one of those expensive NVIDIA, AMD, Intel processors for just weekend. Instead, I can just ask someone like MLH here or any other entity that I know of, or even school or university, to let me borrow their computer or laptop for the weekend and return it back on a Monday after I'm done with my task. So that's what pretty much was the need of the moment, that how do we use all this capacity, all this new technology and features, but not pay for all of them? As someone mentioned earlier, cloud is just pay as you go. So you only pay for what you need. So in a library, you need it for like 2 hours, you only pay for 2 hours. Or you pay like a yearly membership fee. You can also do that. So that's all different mechanisms and ways out there. So cloud is nothing but just using someone else's computers. But those computers happen to be massive, those big computers. So here what you see in the picture are the actual servers. The servers have all this compute capacity, the processing power, networking, your graphics card, your processors, all of those server racks. So someone went ahead and bought all of these. So at your university, you might have all the computers that are running and all these, for example, if you're in Maryland, you have something called Testudo, you have the administrative services, all those running somewhere. Either that's hosted on your own university, there's a building which is like all computers and servers, or they are relying on some other provider who is hosting for them. Whether it's like Google Cloud, Amazon Web Services, Oracle, someone else is doing the work for them for hosting all of them. So that's cloud in simple terms. It's nothing but just using someone else's computer for them. Any questions here so far? Anyone? So on this computer, so we talked about certain terms. We talked about networking. We talked about your data, or talked about the applications, processors, and all that. So in computer, all those different layers or different parts make a one single computer or a website. If you go to a website, you have your front end where you see all the graphics, but you also have a back end where it's like Python, Java, Node.js, Flash, any of those backends which actually host your code. And then you have your database where your user entity is stored. So for example, you log into Technica, you had your email and password that was stored somewhere. So all those components make up one computer. And when you go to cloud, you can basically classify cloud into 4 high-level models. One is the on-premises, where you manage everything. So we saw all those big server farms. So you as a person would manage this. So if you had a laptop, you would manage the laptop. You will make sure your laptop is secure. No one is like stealing your laptop, or no one has access to it without your permission. Similarly, everything that is on a laptop is owned by you. That's the first thing here, because on-premises. So if you had a local computer, you would be responsible for managing everything. You will have to manage the networking layer that is connected to internet fine. It has enough storage, like you have 100 gigs, 200 gigs, or 500 gigs. You have enough storage, you run out of it, or you need to go and buy a bigger hard disk, bigger networking disk. Similarly, it has operating system. So your laptop, like once you get it, you get either Windows and you are like kind of stuck with it. It's like Windows 8, 10, or even any latest one you want to put in there. Or you can do dual boot. So you manage all of that, like Linux, Windows, Mac, all that kind of stuff. But then the other part, when you go to cloud, what happens is cloud provider or any of the person where you're buying or renting the computer from, they own the responsibility for that. So half of the things that you see here, someone else becomes someone else's problem or someone else's headache for you. You don't have to manage anything like that. So there's a platform called Infrastructure Service where all the infrastructure setup is being done by someone else, and you only manage the updates, the patches. You want to store specific data. for your application. Like I know someone here like just reached out to me saying they're working on some kind of health data or something where they're storing users like their healthcare vitals or some of their credit card information, their financial data, all their data. How are you storing it? You only have to worry about that so that you can focus on that and not worry about, oh, hey, how am I going to storage this or what kind of networking I'm using? Do I have to run through wires? Do I need to do hard wires, internet, ethernet? You would not have to worry about any of that. This IaaS. The other is platform as a service. So for platform, for example, the Technica platform is a very good example of platform as a service, where everything is done by Technica. But only thing you have to manage is your data and your applications. That hey, what am I doing with my data? So you fill up your name, your email, your university or school name, and your resume and such. You only manage that. Or anything, the applications such as like if you want to request a mentor, you can go and click on a button, request a mentor. I want to see the sponsors. You only worry about that, and you don't have to do anything else. Your Slack or Zoom apps are a good example of platform as a service for that. And the last one is comes to software as a service. So you use Gmail, right? So your Gmail or G Suite, Google Docs, or even your Microsoft Office 365, all of that platform or services are just given to you. You don't have to do anything. You just go to your computer and type docs.google.com or gmail.com, and boom, you have it right there. You don't have to worry about your data, no operating system, servers. That all is managed on the back end by Google or your provider for it. So at a high level, these are the 4 different types of cloud services that you can use or manage. So depending on your project, you can use any of these on the work that you are doing for that. And now, okay, someone is like, hey, I'm lost. I don't understand these different terms. Like I'm a newbie to computers. How do I know? Worry not. Let me make a simple explanation for you. Everyone here, I assume, has a pizza at some time in their life. Like anyone who is like here good bake, like someone who can bake pizzas, because I know I cannot bake pizza myself. Anyone here? Someone just like raise their hand or something? Cool. So if we compare the analogy of these 4 high-level models with the pizza, you can pretty much see that if you're doing it by yourself, you will do all the baking. You'll make it at home. So you will worry about what kind of cheese you want, what kind of toppings, what kind of dough you want. You'll make your own dough, put the tomato sauce or ranch or any of the sauce you want. You will need to have your own oven and put like, is it like wood fired, stone fired, or you can have your regular gas oven and put it there. And you have to provide everything yourself. This is everything you have to worry about. And now the other version is you go to Costco or Sam's Club or anywhere, you get a frozen pizza. You just buy from there, and only thing you worry about is heating it up. So you have to worry about your electric or gas supply, your oven, your soda, and your dining table, and you can enjoy your pizza there. So that's your infrastructure service. So today we'll focus on one of these portions, infrastructure service part, but how can we leverage the infrastructure owned by someone else like Google to host your own applications for them. And the another model is the platform as a service, where we say something like Technica. So here you have all the work done by someone else for you. So you call Pizza Hut, you call like Domino's or Papa John's or one of your favorite pizza chains. And hey, like I want this pizza, this type, you just tell them and you get the pizza for you and someone comes and delivers. Only thing you have to have is your own dining table and your soda and you can enjoy your pizza. Fun, right? Easy? But hey, easier than this, it's also software as a service, where you can just go out to a restaurant and have in-person dining. Well, unfortunately, like due to like current COVID restrictions, not all places are open for dining in. So I guess you have to have the pizza delivered or taken bake for it. But your essential one is dining out. That's the software as a service. So you get your Google Doc, you get your G Suite, you get any of your Office 365 software. That's just delivered for you. You don't have to worry about anything. Just pay the vendor. You just pay for any of the places like Office 365. You pay for Dropbox, or you just say yearly fee to charge you, and you get your service for you. So that's dining out for you. That's the software as a service version. Let me take a pause here. Any questions, anyone here? Anything, anyone you don't understand here? Feel free to point out or ask here. So all that things that we mentioned, we talked about the OSs or data applications, servers, storage, all that is pretty much stored in a data center. So if you are lucky enough, or if you get a chance to go into one of the actual data centers, you will see all they have is racks like these, which are like full of servers. and all your data or storage is being stored here. So if Google's data centers are similar for all the other providers, right? All your data is being stored, and you don't have to manage any of these for it. So when you go to cloud computing, all these different things can be separated into layers for you. So if we take example of the website or a Google Chrome browser, right? So you go to a browser and you type in gotechnica.org or www.google.com. So what happens there? All these different parts, what happened, we'll walk through that and we'll give you like how does it fall into cloud. So you have the cloud client, that's your browser. Go to Google Chrome, you type up like google.com, and that's pretty much a service given by Google. So that cloud client browser goes and walks to the application or service. And that service, google.com, goes and hits a server backend hosted by Google in their data centers. So that's the infrastructure part or the database part where your information is being stored or something you're looking for is being stored. And if you're, for example, you're opening a calculator or asking Google or Siri, like, hey, do this or do that. Like, for example, what is 5 plus 8? Or what is the weather in Toronto right now? All that is being computed back in a different stack, also hosted by Google or any of the providers you are using. And all of this backend is the networking, that how the connections are being made across the globe for you, that the response comes back to you in time. So in cloud computing, you can separate all of these into different layers and you get to control all of this yourself. So some of the benefits of and why we should use cloud computing is, like someone mentioned earlier, you get only pay as you use. So whatever you pay for that. And you get full support, 24/7 support. So you get like stuck somewhere, you can just call your provider and ask them, hey, can you fix this for me? Or am I stuck here? How do I do this? It's location independent. So you don't have to worry about staying at your home or staying at your office specifically to access your computer or work on an application or develop your website or anything. You can access it from anywhere across the world. It's highly automated. You can easily automate that as you want, because as you do coding, all the cloud resources are spun up by just simple code. So you can write your own code and you don't have to worry about learning any new languages or anything specific for that. And plus, it's lower expenditure. You don't have to pay for a full computer yourself. If you use the computer for just 10 minutes in a month, you only pay for 10 minutes. You don't even pay for a full month. That's the flexibility you get with the cloud computing for that. Some of the major providers, as you might have heard all of these names like Amazon Web Services, AWS, or Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, there's IBM, Oracle. There are multiple cloud providers right now offering their services in this cloud. Cool. Any questions here before we move on to the next session about Google Cloud? I see some people posting in chat. Let me take a moment to go through chat.
What are some reasons why why cloud computing might not be a solution for your business or your organization?
Excellent question. So some reasons it might not be a best opinion is if you're storing highly sensitive information where you need like very like minute latency, or you have security reasons. For example, government. A government has their own data centers and servers, but also nowadays Google or even cloud providers, they are storing government solutions in a more secure, compartmentalized manner. So even those scenarios can be moved to cloud, and you can use that. But one, I would say, as a developer, as someone who's getting started with cloud, there shouldn't be. If you are just starting in any of the new modern languages, for example, like JavaScript, Python, Flash, and like that, then you can easily put on cloud. But if you are using very old languages or legacy languages, for example, like Pascal, Lisp, and such, then you cannot easily write them on cloud or get that same latency that you'd get with new technologies of coding languages. So in those scenarios, you can consider hosting it on your own local computer or your own data center for that. So those might be one or two examples or scenarios where those might be the best example for cloud.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure. So now let's move to the next session of like intro to Google Cloud, which I guess all of you are here for. So when you talk about Google Cloud, right? Google Cloud is not just Google Cloud Platform, the cloud products, but everything that Google has, and all falls under Google Cloud. So we saw different layers and stacks before for what does the cloud computing stack look like. And Google or any of the cloud provider lets you do all of those different providers or stacks within your cloud ecosystem. So in terms of Google, the whole domain of cloud is called Google Cloud. And underneath there, you have solutions and services for different enterprises, different categories or classifications. If you're a student, there are specific solutions for you. If you're an enterprise, for a government, you have specific solutions for you. If you're a developer, you have certain services just for you. So if you're working in a team, in a corporate environment, in a school or anything, then you have G Suite. That's how you keep track of all your Google Docs, Google Slides, your Google Sheets. Everything that's part of the G Suite. And same with Chrome browser and Android. So all those technologies and services that power your devices, that all runs on cloud. And that's why, like, if you log into Google Chrome as your make a profile on your desktop, you can use the same bookmarks and same services and same resources even on a mobile device when you log into Google Chrome. So that's also running on cloud. If you're running for businesses, there are solutions like Apigee. There's Google Maps, which a lot of businesses run, a lot of as students and developers, you can develop on. Like, for example, you want to learn, hey, what are the nearest hospitals or nearest services near me for urgent care? Google Maps is the answer for you. So all that is running by cloud. But today, what we're going to focus more on is Google Cloud Platform, where as a developer, as a hacker, most as matters to you is how do I develop my app? Where do I host it? How do I manage it? I'm working on my data analytics. I want to analyze how many search queries happened in the last 30 days for Technica on Google Cloud or anywhere. Like who all searched for my website? You can do all the analytics on Google Cloud Platform. And this GCP is the platform within Google Cloud where you can do this infrastructure, storage, network, data, ML, AI, all of those services within GCP for that. So today, this is our focus for today, GCP, and this is, I think, most of the developers, as you should be using this. Also, Google Maps, you can use that along with Google Cloud Platform because it's part of the same ecosystem there. Any questions here? See, Google Cloud Platform provides like more than 80, 90 different services based on your use case. For example, if you are trying to look for a replication just for your own computer or your laptop, then you have compute platform, GCP's compute engine service, where it is just like a virtual machine, a virtual instance created for you, what you can manage on your own, deciding upon what OS you want. You want Linux, you want what layer of Linux, Ubuntu, Debian, or you want Red Hat system, or you want Windows, or you want like even Mac. So you can have your own virtual machines or own OSs direct in compute engine. You have cloud function, which is like serverless capabilities. You can have your storage and databases. You can have networking, machine learning, security, big data, all these different services are available on GCP for you. Some of you want to work in advanced AI or machine learning, there are tools for that. You want to work on IoT, you want to create your next Fitbit device, or you want to create your next like health monitoring for your dog. You want to see how much steps your dog is walking in a day? You can use Google Cloud for that, for entire thing. We got solutions for everything in here. And as a hacker or developer, most of the things that would concern to you is storage and database. Because as someone mentioned, a couple of you mentioned databases earlier, there are different kinds of databases. You have object-based, where you have a file, you have an image. You want user to be able to get an image when he or she clicks something. When you want to just have a key value stored, so you want to have a username and password stored with each other, you can use key value pairs. You can use like non-relational, like non-RDBMS data. Like you might have heard something like MongoDB, which is document-based. You can store that on Google Cloud. You can have relational, like traditional SQL, MySQL, MS SQL. You can store that. And also you can do like your advanced data warehousing, where you're an enterprise, or let's say you are a social media in a company today, and you have like 10 people using it. Tomorrow you have 100. But in next year, you have 100,000 users using that same social media platform. You can host all that and do analytics on this Google Cloud Platform's BigQuery service. So there are different services, different models of the services which are supported in Google Cloud, which you can leverage for that. Similarly, for machine learning, you can build your own models. So I know some of the people here, like hackers, who are like at the advanced level and trying to work on machine learning AI, and are versed in bringing their own models. You can bring your own models to actually train something on machine learning, or use Google's models. So whatever Google uses internally are also available externally for you to use. You can use things like Vision API, or speech, or jobs, or even like natural language processing. You can use some of those things. So especially I want to focus today on some of the services like the Vision and NLP. Is you have an image. A lot of users are working on some of the COVID-related challenges, And one of the questions often come around is, hey, how do I know that this image I'm showing, this image has specific attributes? How do I extract it out of it? A doctor gave me a report, but how do I store the report and make sense of the report and only store the important essentials of that? You can use something like Vision API, which is like very easy to click. You can just like click and try the API, or you can go to the, I will have the sites at the end, and you can easily use those to detect the content, extract text out of image for that. Also, for example, I have an example of a dog here. So if you upload an image of a dog here, it will tell you, and what kind of dog is it? Is it like a mammal? Is it like a dog breed? Is it a vertebrate? So based on the app or hack you're doing, you can use all this information just based on the image within your application. So when a user goes and search, show me all the lost dogs in the area, or is there a dog available for adoption within my nearby shelters? You can just search by image and know what's available around you, pretty much. Similarly, to actually use this, it's very easy. You just like have a file image, you upload that image to Google's Vision API, and that will return all the responses for you. So you don't know how to do on your own work. Like, hey, how do I know it's a dog? How do I know it's a mammal or what pet? You don't have to worry about that. Google will take care of it for you. But then we can give you like a simple, easy response for it. Similar for natural language API, you can do analysis of sentiments or multiple languages. Today at Technica, we have like global audiences, like from all over the world pretty much. And if you are a teammate, you want to converse with other teammates, you can use something like Google Translate. And you can use the same capabilities in your application or your hack as well, and use some of these APIs for that. Similarly for speech, you can use speech to text. You can do text to speech, like the other way around for it. And for video intelligence, you want to expect like, so right now, if you see this Zoom, you have like closed captioning available for this. Just click on CC and you'll see closed captioning. So a lot of these things are done by video intelligence. So you can use some of these directly from Google. Same services, same level of reliability and security that Google has given to you for it. So if you're taking a screenshot or trying to get the reference of one slide, I would tell you to do this one. These are links which take you directly to these APIs that I mentioned, and you can just get started just by a single click on there. Any questions here so far before we move on to the next session? So here's another example if you want to use it in your app, like or if you go to documentation for any of these APIs, you will see that there's a functionality for all these modern programming languages and snippets for that. You just copy it, paste it in your app, in your code, and just replace the APIs, and you are done. You have the capability in your app now. And all of these, now you say, to the global audience here, you say, I type google.com, I type google.in, google.eu, and it takes me to the same place. So how does it know? And returns me that where am I from? And it's returning me the response like within seconds, within like microseconds. Because all this infrastructure that we saw is hosted globally across the globe. In all these locations, there are Google's data centers, where Google has their own centers with all the servers, all the virtual machines hosted, from where you can request or deploy infrastructure anywhere. For example, you are a user in Toronto and you are creating an application used by someone in Taiwan or someone in Singapore. You can host your application in Singapore just from your computer. You don't have to go travel there. You don't have to go store your data there. You can do everything just from Google Cloud, just with the click of a buttons there. So all this infrastructure is hosted globally across the state. And if I go to google.com right now from my location here in Maryland, and someone else goes to google.com and searches for the same query from, let's say, India or from Toronto, they get results instantly and same results because your data can be stored in multiple regions at the same time. You can store in 2 regions across the globe. You can store in just in 1 region, or you can store in multiple regions. So user gets the lowest latency for their search queries and responses. Now we're going to talk about is the compute engine, where it's similar to a virtual machine, where you get the same experience as your computer. And you can just click on that, log into that, and host your website or application directly on that. So now, next we're going to go is in a live demo for this. So if you haven't claimed your credits yet, I would say this is time to log into the claim your credits, check your emails, and click on the link that was sent to you by MLH with your Google Cloud credits that you should be able to use. let me go to the session. All right, and let me pull up my screen. So when you click on the link in the email, you should be able to see this Google Cloud platform. Is anyone able to see my Google Cloud console on the screen here? Can someone confirm you're able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Awesome. So once you click on the link in the email that you got from MLH, you should see that it will take you to this Google Cloud Platform console. Or you can easily go to this console, or this URL having console or cloud.google.com. This is what you will see in your dashboard here. Now, all the services we talked about is easy to navigate. So if you click on this hamburger button or the menu button on the top left, you should see all these services for you. So you have this compute engine, your Kubernetes, serverless cloud functions, or some of the machine learning languages we talked about. It's all here for you. So you have this natural language processing, your document AI, your computer vision, your databases, your storage. All that platform is easy to navigate just in a single menu here.
AWS is top.
Does someone have a question? Okay, I guess we'll keep on. So today we're going to focus on this compute engine. This is your, and click on VM instances. These are your virtual machines. So you can spin up 100 computers to run your application or your algorithm. If you're advanced machine learning model or algorithm, you want to use multiple processors or multiple CPUs on it, then you can easily use this. So this VM instance offering is that virtual machine offering from Google Cloud. So if you're following along, click on create. And when we do create, it should show up. Okay. So here you can name your virtual machine, what machine you want to give. So let's say we are going to host our first website on it. So let's say I'll type in my website, and you can name it as you like. But just be careful, name is permanent. And users don't see this server. This is just for you to manage. Right? You select the region where do you want to deploy your application. You want to deploy in like US, Europe, Asia Pacific, and what zone you want to do it. So zone, this is optional, but this is basically much a data center within a region for you. That's independent for that. So for example, in US Central, there are like 4 zones. So it's pretty much saying 4 data centers owned by Google in Iowa for you. And you select what kind of machine you want. So as I talked about flexibility you get, and you get to use whichever machine you want. So you can use like, if you need like 2 CPUs, or if you need 4 gigs of memory, you need more 64 gigs of memory for your machine, or more than 100, you can do that. You can also customize however you want. You can use custom and see how many memories or how many cores or CPUs do you want for your application for it. So you can choose that. So for this demo, let's say it's like dealers, and you can see like you only pay $6 a month. But since you got Google Cloud credits, you won't be paying anything because you get up to $100 in credits from Google Cloud. So this will pretty much be free for you. And we can select what operating system you want. Do you want Windows? Do you want Linux? What flavor of Linux you want? So you can select what OS you want, Red Hat, Windows, Ubuntu, CentOS, any of that. I'm going to leave it default for now. And we'll say allow HTTP traffic. So what this is, it allows anyone to go to your website that will be hosted on this and just to create. So with just few clicks, you actually have a virtual machine or a computer created just for you that you can access from anywhere in the world. And one good thing is, if you want to learn more about any of the services, there's easy to learn tutorials that are available for all the services on the right on the console for you. So you see our computer or our virtual machine is spinning up. Does anyone have any questions, or anyone who's following has any questions or got stuck anywhere? You can help?
Yeah, how do we get where you are right now?
Are you in the console already?
What?
If you click on console, if you got an email from MLH that's your Google Cloud credits, you should be able to click on that link, or you should be able to go just to console.cloud.google.com, and you should be able to go there. You should be able to see the screen that I'm saying.
What did you click on for machine family?
I was Ubuntu. So let's say if we do create for machine family, let's say I kept the default as Debian. So I didn't change anything besides default. So I have my machine family is this. I was the operating system. For my machine family, I kept as the general purpose. All should be default. You shouldn't have to change anything for you.
When I click compute engine and VM instances, it is asking me to enable billing.
Did you actually create the credits, or did you go to the
Yeah,
link?
I have a
Uh,
credit.
then it should not ask you for that actually. Now reach out to me like after the session, and I'll walk you through it and see what's going on there.
Okay.
Cool. So we have our instance created. So what we'll do is while the instance is getting created here, all you have to do is click on SSH, and you'll be able to see what your machine has or what's in there. So this is a Debian Ubuntu instance created for you, and you're able to log into this, SSHing to it. So for those who are not aware, SSH is basically connecting to your machine over the command line, which is short from a secure shell. So you can type all your commands or all activities that you do on this machine here. That's a secure shell connection that you do. So here now I'm in my machine, and just to check, in Linux, if you do ls, that shows you the content what you have. That's like listed directory. Currently, you don't have anything here listed, but what we are going to do is we are going to create our website on here. So to get started, let's just update our machine. So make sure we have all the latest patches installed for us. You know that should be done by Google by default when you create the instance. We also always want to make sure whenever we do, we patch it so there are no security vulnerabilities or there are no any open problems that are going on with the machine. So it's a good practice always to update on the instance or any machine. And those of you who want to follow along me in the commands, I also have all the commands on the, let me see if I can minimize this and have the screen showing at the same time. Give me a second.
Just a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So I clicked the link and it said that it showed an error for the credit. So then I close it and open it again. And now it says that the code, like the credit code, has been already used. So how can I check that where's my credit? So how can I check in my account how many credits do I have?
So if you go on the left menu bar and click on Compute Engine Instance again, it should let you see the VM instances that you have, which should be empty for now in the beginning. But yeah, once you have, well, in the interest of time, we're going to move ahead right now. But yeah, reach out to me or post in #Google-Cloud channel on Slack, and any of us will be happy to answer any of your questions. So once we update our instance, we are going to do is install Apache. Apache is a very common web server framework or instance that we can run our websites on or any of our applications on. So I'm going to install Apache here. And for anyone following along, the commands are also on the screen that you're able to see. And while this is happening, well, open your favorite text editor, or if you know like HTML, JavaScript, open a text editor like I have Notepad++ here, but you can use Visual Studio or any of the other common ones, and just type simple HTML. So I type here like HTML, it's my first website on cloud at Technica, or just that, and go ahead and save this file. So let's say I'll save it anywhere on your computer. I'll save it on my desktop, and I'll say website.html. Make sure you change it to HTML, or you can even say like,
Hey, Darpan, we can't see your screen. Like the slides are visible right now. And you're talking about the GCP console, I guess.
do you not see my screens right now? I have slides and I also have the GCP terminal open.
Yeah,
do you see that?
So
We can
no,
only
we see the slides.
Oh, just a second. Not sure what happened there. Oh, sorry. I thought you were able to see it. How about now? Do you see my screen now?
It's good now.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So yeah, open the console. Like once you have the console open and the console and the SSH, after SSH, you should just type these commands. So I type the Apache 2 and then open a text editor, and you can type up this simple HTML program we have here. It's just HTML saying hello world, and we are saving it. And just save this. Let's say I'll save it as index.html. I'm saving it in my desktop. So create an HTML file, any of your choice. Now it's saved. And once this is saved, you can just upload this file directly. So if you notice, like if you have experience with like AWS or your Azure or any of the cloud providers or virtual machines, you would have to copy the file over like with some commands like FCP and things like that. But here in Google, you can just simply upload the file. Go to settings menu on the top right and click on upload file. And it will just ask you where you want, what file you want to upload. So this way you can easily develop or create your website or application on your local computer and can upload that whole packet or zip file directly on Google Cloud without any custom commands. So let's say I save this file here. I'm going to edit it and upload it. So upload finished. Now if I see ls here, I should be able, you see I see my file here. I have index.html file created for you. And once we have this, we would copy this file to this location for Apache. And I'll restart my server. And now you see, like I have this index.html file hosted on my website is now pretty much hosted and ready for the world to see. So if I go to my IP address of the instance, so let me explain the IP address for those who are not familiar. The IP address is pretty much the actual server location of server on the internet. So whenever you type something like google.com, that google.com link or gotechnica.org or yahoo.com, all that site, that domain name just gets translated to an IP address, which is made up of bits. So that's where your application gets hosted. So now my Apache website is hosted on the instance. So I click on my external IP address, that will take me directly to my website and show me what I wrote. So here my website is ready. So if any of you go to this IP address right now, like I'll put in chat, you should be able to see the same message that I hosted. So my website is now ready for world to see. Also, I'm seeing messages in chat right now that you're wanting to see slides and not console. So I'm apologize for that. So what I'll do is, for those of you who missed the console again, I'll walk you through the process again, how to create the virtual machine. Great. So if you go to your, everyone can see my console now, right? Correct? My Google Cloud console. Is everyone seeing it?
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, when you go to console, click on this menu button on the top left and click on compute engine. And you should click on VM instances. So these are your virtual machine instances here. And here, since I have my website here, it shows me my virtual machine. But for those who want to create a new one, click on create instance. And it will show you all the configuration that you need to do. Just give it a second. And so here you can name it anything. So you can name it like my website 2, or this is only for you. The world is not going to see this. And you select the region where you want to host the site. So if you're from APAC region or Europe, and you're in, like, let's say Singapore, and you can select what location you want to store it. For example, if you're in Europe, if you're an enterprise, there's a regulation called GDPR, which mandates that all the data hosted by companies in Europe must be stored in Europe's regions, shouldn't go anywhere outside. So at that time, you will make sure like to put it in there. So select a region accordingly that. So let's say I'll keep US Central 1. And these are your machine type, what size of machine you want. You want like 4 gigs of memory, you want 8 gigs, 15 gigs. So you know how we talked about that if you have a desktop computer or a laptop, you are stuck with whatever you got or whatever you bought for, and you have to buy a new one. For this, you can easily swap it out. Like, let's say you're already using your 4 CPUs, 16 gigs of memory, it becomes like full, you're running too many processes, you can easily swap that out with a bigger one, with like 128 gigs. Or you can also create a customized one on your own, whatever you like for it. And it also shows you all the estimate of price that you will pay. For example, for this machine that I'm saying like 1 gigs of memory, I'll pay $6 per month pretty much. But with Google credits, it will be $0 for you since your credits for up to $100. And the rest all is keeping default here. But here, just for information, I'll show like what OS you can use. You can use like Windows, you can use like Ubuntu, Debian, CentOS, any of the OS that you like there. And also you can change like how much hard disk you want. You want 10 gigs, 100 gigs, or 50 gigs, you can select whatever you want there. And this is firewall where it says allow everyone to come to my website on HTTP and on HTTPS service, and you can just hit create. So that's pretty much creating your instance. And once that is done, I'll go to the second. And you can click on SSH and you'll be able to click on that pretty much. And once you click on SSH, you should be able to see this screen where it's your command line for your instance, right? As your question from Nuria, yes, you can edit the instance once you create it. So let's say if I created an instance, I want to edit it, I click on it, and I can just change the configuration here. So there's an edit button, but I can edit my configuration to whatever I want. So I can just say edit. And if you notice, previously I used the 4 gigs of memory, but now I can change it to whatever I like for it. So here I can edit all of these information here. I can also add like new disk. I can also add like more access. All the maintenance can be done here. So anyone who's following and was not able to get to the site here, reach out to me after the session. I know we are a little bit over time here, but thank you for being a wonderful audience, and reach out to us in Google Cloud or in the mentor channel for any questions any of you may have. Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks everyone for coming, and thanks Darpin for the great presentation. It was really informative. Have a great rest of your day, guys.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy the hack. Good luck with the hackathon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day.